Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 2 Pints In. I am Paul Baluyat, and once again here with Jeff Schuella.
What's going on, guys?
We are here with our guest for the day, who I think that she forgot that we were doing a podcast and really dressed up.
She looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look great. The beautiful Chantal Desjardins.
I actually got this dress on sale, so I've worn it every day this week. Yeah, I gotta get my money's worth.
It was like a Marge Simpson thing where you like altered the dress every single time.
I turn it inside out one day, I turn it backwards, so like nobody knows it's the same dress.
You wear it in different ways?
Yeah.
You really get the most out of it.
Sleeping in the dress. I clean in the dress. I'm from Winnipeg. We're cheap. It's what we do.
Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah.
How long were you in Winnipeg for?
25 years.
Okay.
I was born and raised, so then I moved here 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to move. Have you guys been to Winnipeg?
No, it's the one. It's probably the only province I haven't been to is Manitoba.
Right. It's great during the 3 days of summer.
Okay.
Like, beautiful. Like, you think this is the best place on earth. And then it's minus 30 for the other 362 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dated a girl from Winnipeg, and she was like, she said that it's all Filipinos there.
There's a ton of Filipinos. My first boyfriend was Filipino.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Like,
I know.
there's a lot of Filipinos because second to I think San Francisco, Winnipeg has the highest concentrations of Filipinos out of any city in the world.
I
Really?
never really thought about it. I wonder
Does
why.
it make sense?
Now it does.
Why is it?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Filipinos and we have a lot of Ukrainians there.
Oh,
yeah, tons of
Yeah.
Ukrainians. Like pierogies to me are like that reminds me of home, of my childhood. There's a lot of babas running around.
How often do you get to go back home?
I go twice a year,
Okay.
and that's like twice too many.
Yeah.
Roughly a year. But no, I love going back. My mom, like I was her only child, so
Yeah.
she
Okay.
can count in hours how long I've been gone. And then, so I have to go back to visit her. Or she'll
Okay.
freak out, or she'll come to visit me with it, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Does she come?
She still comes regardless. Yeah.
Okay.
She
I
just
met your
left.
mom actually at one of the comedy
Oh, yeah.
shows. She's pretty cool, actually. We were hanging out.
She's okay.
Heckling her when she was on stage.
She comes to see my comedy, which is cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my parents it just freaks them out. When they
comedy?
come to see me do comedy.
Oh yeah.
Well, my mom's like a very nervous
Uh-huh.
person, and so like she doesn't like. She gets secondhand embarrassment very easily, I think.
Especially when you make fun of her.
Yeah, no, but even like growing up, she'd come to my basketball games. She'd like want to hide.
Aw.
Under the rafters.
Yeah, pretty much. It's terrible. People throwing popcorn at her.
It's at first my mom didn't want me to do comedy. She didn't want me to do TV or radio. She's like, you got to get a real job, right?
Okay.
Like you've got to be an accountant. That was her idea of a real job. She never wanted me to do anything
Where
else.
was
but be
she?
an
What
accountant.
were you like?
She was in a bank. She was like a teller.
She's a bank teller.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she just decided that I should be an accountant. So when I first said I was going into TV, she almost fainted. And then when I first started doing stand-up, she's like,
Yeah.
you're never going to make a living doing that. And then she started to come and she's like, let me help you write your jokes. And that was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, nothing funny came out
No,
of
there's
that.
nothing funny from my mom.
Is it a single mom or you're an only child?
Single mom and only
Single
child.
mom and only child,
So
nice.
it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you, when you were younger, because you do radio, you do television, you do both, and did you always have like this like, not need, but like want to go into like TV and radio
Yeah,
and have like
it's
a
a-
personality and like,
It's a total need, actually.
Yeah.
I find that most people in this industry didn't get enough attention as a kid.
Yes.
Totally,
Probably.
you know? So I found that when I was a kid, I was always trying to get attention, so I was always the class clown, and I was always finish my homework quick in class, and then I'd always be distracting the other kids, and I'd be like, hey, what are you doing now? You want to go, like, pull the fire extinguisher or whatever, the fire alarm? And so I was always in trouble, but I was always the funny one.
Yeah.
And so I was almost, this kind of industry almost fell in my lap.
You really, eh?
Yeah.
And were you like an attention seeker? Did you pull the alarm? Did you?
Oh, like weekly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did you?
Oh, yeah. I used to get hauled into the principal's office like once a week. But the problem was I had like a 90-something average.
Okay.
So I had great grades, but I would always finish my work before everybody
Yeah.
else, and then would just wreak havoc.
Are we talking elementary school? Or are we talking
We're
like
talking
high school?
like high school. I almost went into engineering, actually. Well, I wasn't
Okay.
still pulling the fire alarm
Okay.
in high school, but I went into engineering,
Okay.
sat through a couple classes, worked out some sort of scholarship,
Okay.
sat there, and I have the attention span of a flea.
Me too.
And within about 10 minutes, I was like, this is never going to work out for me.
Yeah.
Left and went into communications.
And you knew early that like sitting in an office
Never.
was never an
No.
option for you.
No, I had to do something. And because I I got into radio because of the, the adrenaline, and then I loved it, but the adrenaline sort of goes away after you've been doing anything for a while. So then I got into TV, because when that red light comes on, it's like, holy moly, like especially when you're anchoring, you're behind the desk and there's like 10 people and they're talking in your ear, and just as the red light comes on, it feels like you've shot a thing of whiskey, and it's just like it coats your everything. And then that, I still have that a little bit, but that's why I got into comedy, because that is the ultimate.
You're looking for a lot of thrills.
Oh my God, I'm such a thrill
It's an
seeker.
adrenaline rush.
It's such an adrenaline rush. Like I've never had anything like the very first time I tried comedy.
Are you like roller coasters and doing like daredevil
Totally.
stuff?
Like I would jump out of a plane.
Would you jump? Have you gone skydiving before?
I've never done it.
Yeah,
I would
bungee.
love to.
Yeah, you would like to do
Yeah,
that.
sure, I would do that.
on your
We could
bucket
go
list?
this afternoon. I
Yeah.
want
So you're insane, basically. You're an insane person.
Yeah. Like I have trouble sitting at home and reading a book.
Yeah?
I'm always ready for the next adventure, which is a problem, I guess.
So you haven't finished a book in a while.
I've been reading 50 Shades of Grey since
Okay.
it came out, which was like 2 years ago.
It takes me like a year to finish a
Yeah.
book too. I
Yeah,
can't
me
sit
too.
there.
I
don't
know. So
I try, it just doesn't happen. Or then I keep trying to go back a chapter, because I'm like, I haven't read this in like 6 or 7 months, I need a refresher.
before
forgot
you know
again,
it, you're
eh?
at the beginning of the
Yeah,
book again,
exactly.
because you keep going back a chapter.
I'm like, forward, what's this?
And so you fell in love with radio when you started?
So I liked radio, and things sort of literally fell into my lap. Well, not
Okay.
literally, I guess. What would have to fall into
Figuratively?
Yeah.
Figuratively.
Figuratively.
Yeah, nothing. Like a radio didn't fall into my lap or anything. But and then it just sort of worked out, and I moved out to Montreal because my ex came out here, and he said, let's go to Montreal. And I was like, why?
Okay.
Winnipeg's amazing, right? Like I knew everybody, all like, 17 people that are in Winnipeg. Like I knew them all. So I'd go to the back doors of all the clubs. Like I was
Yeah.
cool.
You have a French last name.
I know, yeah, but I used to say Desjardins.
Desjardins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to
Really?
Montreal, and my boss, Rick Moffat, when I first started in sports,
Mm-hmm.
he said, they will eat you alive. And he made me go into a room and practice Desjardins
Yeah, yeah,
over and over
yeah,
again
yeah,
until
yeah.
I got it properly.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
wow. So you had to you came to Montreal and just changed your name?
Yeah, totally. Chantal
Change
I
it.
went from Chantal Desjardins to Chantal Desjardins. And I'd say it with like attitude.
Do it well. Yeah,
I
yeah,
noticed
yeah.
that
And a lot
people
of you
put that
have
here.
put attitude on it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You should.
And then, came out here 6 years ago, and I told my ex that I would be here. Well, he was still my boyfriend at
Yeah.
the time. And then I said, I'm going to give it 6 months. If I don't like it, I'm moving back home. Within like 5 days, I was like, this is the best place on earth.
Was it your first time here?
Yeah.
Oh, like at all?
Oh, wow.
Like completely first time in Montreal? Okay.
Oh, I might be making that up. I think I was here one other time.
So and you must have come here in the spring or summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the summer. And like
Okay.
the people on St. Catherine, like I don't know if you haven't been to Winnipeg, but downtown Winnipeg, it's not good. Like nobody goes out after 7 o'clock, like if you value your life.
Yeah.
And so here to see people out on a patio and to not be swarmed by mosquitoes. Like I came out for the first time in Montreal with a mosquito net, like a full full
beekeeper
suit.
outfit?
Yeah, I had a beekeeper outfit on St. Catherine for my first Sanka
You
set.
turned that dress into a beekeeper outfit?
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if I could turn my old wedding dress into
That's
a
awesome.
sitting in a closet. And then I decided I loved it, and now I never want to leave.
Very
Oh,
cool.
that's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a great,
Nice.
it's a great city.
It's a great city.
And our winters are bearable.
Well, they're still pretty cold.
Yeah, seriously. But you're from
Okay.
Winnipeg.
In Winnipeg,
This is
and
okay.
for the first time when I drove to a mall here, I was asking where the thing is to plug your car in. Because in Winnipeg, every mall, when you go into the parking lot, you can plug your car in because your car will freeze in that 40 minutes that you're in the mall otherwise. And so here, I spent like half an hour walking around the car looking for the plug. And there was no plug at the malls here. It's not that cold.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And do you have people who help? Like maybe they'll recognize you. Do you get people who recognize you and then help you?
Look for the plug.
Yeah, look
they
for
just
the
they
plug.
just like humor me, right? So then all of us are looking for the plug
That's
that
awesome.
doesn't exist. Yeah, it's
There's 4 people looking for the plug.
They're just waiting for you to go to the other side of the car so they can giggle their asses
totally
off.
until somebody finally says, "We gotta go." There's no plug. Like,
And so now, look, I read your Wikipedia. I couldn't find a lot of biographical stuff on you.
I have a wiki page. I have
You
no
have a
idea.
wiki page.
I have no idea who made the wiki
Yeah, yeah,
page.
you have a
it's
wiki
just
page.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
when I
yeah.
decided I was big time. I actually thought
Yeah.
about retiring when I got a wiki page. But
It's pretty cool, and it's like it's got some body to it too.
Yeah.
It's not, you know,
it's got like other outside resources. I think like somebody
external
put
links
some,
and stuff like
that's like. Whew.
And we heard you on the radio yesterday,
Yeah.
but I hear you like at different times of the day. Like I don't know if like you have a consistent
You're
gig
with,
now or
with Aaron Rand.
Yeah, so I do sports on the drive show
Yes.
for
Yeah.
the most part.
That's what I always hear. You.
Yeah.
3 to 7 on CJD.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's my regular gig. I used to do the morning show on Shone
Yes, with Pete.
with Pete and
Yes.
PJ. Yeah,
PJ as well. Yeah.
But I had 3 alarms that would go off at 4, 4:01, and 4:02 a.m. My first thought every morning was I hate my life, followed by cool job. But you know, waking up.
So and then you had to go to bed at like 11 for that, or
But I
10?
I have trouble sleeping early. Like I've never gone to bed early, so I would notice it was like midnight, it was 1, it was 2. Suddenly, I just give up. I just get up and like go read a couple pages of 50 Shades of Grey and then go to work.
So you don't have trouble getting out of bed. You can get out of bed. You need the 3 alarms, basically.
3 alarms, yeah, and they have to be like spread out around the apartment, and I have to hide them. Like I have to not know where I put them. You know, it's like a scavenger
Oh,
hunt.
it's a
every
nightmare.
morning.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, that would be my life.
Wow.
But this shift is much better. So I roll out of bed,
Yeah.
walk my golden retriever.
Yeah. And so you live alone now with your dog?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really great.
That's awesome.
So, no, actually I bought a condo I had no idea this was the gay village around the radio station,
Yeah.
the TV station, until I bought my condo, and there were 16 units in my condo.
Oh, nice.
And of the 16 units, 15 units are gay couples.
With
and
dogs.
With dogs.
They all
And I had no
have
idea.
dogs,
And I had a
yeah.
girlfriend who was also going through a divorce at the same time as me. And I said, well, come on in. Like, I got a big place. So she was living with me for a couple months. And she had a golden retriever, too. So there were 2 blondes with matching golden retrievers that would wake up every morning. We'd walk our dogs. And so the guys across the hall would be like, you and your partner should come over for dinner. And like, we just never corrected them. So
Nice.
we're
Whatever.
dating now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is she still there?
Yeah, she's there. She's tidying up. You know?
That's hilarious.
No, she moved out.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, we broke up.
The dogs.
The
there,
dogs are
too.
still
The
together.
dogs are in love.
Yeah.
Still together.
But her dog's a girl and my dog's a guy, and her dog humps the crap out of my dog.
Really?
Like, my dog is a 90-pound
In
golden
front of both of you
retriever.
guys?
Man, yeah. And she
animals
just,
have
she
no-
dominates
He's a
him.
dominant. Yeah, it's a dominant.
He's a man.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. You know? He embarrasses
Was he
me.
fixed?
He wasn't fixed. Like, he
Oh,
should
wow.
be humping everything that moves, but he just doesn't know. Sometimes I try to show him, you know, and it just makes it awkward for everyone.
Animals.
Teaching him missionary position.
Totally. Like, we're at the dog park, and I'm like, go get her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
cute,
yeah.
you know?
So there must be a nice dog park around here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just up at La Fontaine Park.
So you're friends with everyone who lives in the building?
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
funny, actually. There's a purse designer in my building,
Yeah.
and I have his purse. How weird is that?
That's
And
Christopher
you knew
Kahn
it
is
before.
this purse
And
designer.
they saw you with the purse, this person?
Yeah, well, I didn't recognize him. Like, I don't
Okay.
know. I have
Of
no sense
course,
of style, but
but
my
he saw
girlfriend
your
did.
bag.
And I saw the bag and was like, hey, that's my purse. And I was like, oh, we have the same one. He's like, no, I made that bag. And I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, how far did you have to go to get the purse? Was it in Montreal?
Yeah,
or-
they sell them
Okay.
at like Simon's and at a couple different
Oh,
like
wow.
boutiques on St. Catherine.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now because you're cheaping from Winnipeg, you could be like, hey, man, could I...
Oh, I hit him up like weekly. Like, what else do you have for me? You know?
And so now this is a better schedule for you. You don't have to wake
Oh
up
my
early.
God, yeah,
You
it's great. I
can,
come in for like 2, I leave
yeah.
at 7, and then if I do TV, I'll either do a story during the day or I'll
Yeah.
anchor at night, so I can go in on like Saturday or a Sunday and anchor
pretty
the 6
cool.
and the 11:30.
You get to work with Aaron Rand, who's been around for a long
I love Aaron.
time.
Yeah,
I
he's.
grew up listening to him.
Oh yeah.
Him and Tasso, Patsy Kakas.
Yeah.
These characters.
Aaron is one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like,
Yeah.
he's dangerous because he's funny and he's sharp. Like, I think of myself as funny, but I know just enough to get by, you know, on any given topic. Whereas he knows, like, he can be funny and then he can go in depth on any topic, like, ranging from politics to cooking to, entertainment, anything. He knows everything.
That's pretty cool.
Lights the shit up.
Yeah.
And he's been around, I guess, for at least 30, 40 years.
Oh, he's old. Yeah, he is old. Yeah, he likes when I say
He's
that.
an old man.
Really old.
Does he?
No,
Does he like you
hates when I
telling
say
that to him?
No,
No.
he does not like
Call
that.
me an old man.
Yeah, he doesn't like that at all.
Well, he doesn't... Oh, yes. I was like, I don't even know what the hell he looks like, but he doesn't sound old.
He's tall, He likes to say he was a baseball player, in his day. But I've seen him play softball, and I'm like, it must have been a day a long time ago. Sorry, Aaron.
And did you like? Because you said like at one point like you were like I could stay in Winnipeg, but like for your career, we talked to Frank Cavallero. He's been all over the country. He was in different small towns in Canada. Like, did you say, like, whatever I have to do for the job, I will go?
I didn't, because I lucked out in Winnipeg. You usually have to go to one of the little crap towns around Winnipeg, like Brandon, Manitoba, or Morden, or Winkler, or whatever. You have to start there. Whereas I was working in, so I just graduated college. I was working in promotions at City TV.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine was doing sports, and he said, listen, I just got a job in New York. I know that you've done sports in college, which, we have a tiny little TV station in our college, whatever. And he's like, I want you to go in there and tell the boss that you want the new sports gig. And I was like, I'm 22. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I walk into the boss's office and I was like, hi, I know John's leaving. I think you should hire me to be the sports anchor. Like, John was like 40 at the time, right? And I'm this 22-year-old blonde with like 3 days experience in promotion. And my boss sort of looks at me and he's like, oh, you think so? He's like, okay. He's like, it's 3 o'clock. Go put a story together. It'll be on the news at 6.
Oh, wow.
And so I take a camera guy. I have no idea what I'm doing. I run out. I get the story. Like, I'm trying to. Everybody's helping me because
what's
they
the
say
story?
that.
What
it was
did you
on
put together?
some women's hockey thing that was playing at the in Winnipeg for the weekend.
You're limited in Winnipeg. What's going on? Like,
well, we had
Jets?
the Moose.
Yeah.
It was the Jets weren't there, so
Jets weren't there.
we had this AHL team, and that's
they find like a Pee-wee baseball team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a lot of like I was the queen of like the water skiing squirrel, like those kind of stories. Like that was my forte. So I come back and I throw it together, and I see all the bosses standing up in the glass room because they're in this little glass tower, and we're all like sitting around going, I wonder do they look happy? Like I don't know if they look happy or not. Comes out, he's like, you start Monday. Started the job on Monday.
Wow.
And from I felt like I was thrown to the wolves, and it was the best thing that could have happened.
But you were did you have a passion for sports or like I've
been a tomboy. Like I grew up I was an only child, but I grew up with the 2 boys down the street, and so I learned at an early age that you're going to play sports if you're going to fit in with the boys, right? There's no sitting around playing with dolls or whatever.
You never played with dolls?
I was never. No, I wanted to be a ballerina when I was 5 or 6.
Okay.
But I was chubby. Like my mom had me on a diet at about 3 days old, and I haven't really eaten since. Yeah,
so you were fat for 3 days.
I was huge. I was huge, and I had no neck, and I was bald. And my mom used to Scotch tape a Brett. This is no lie, to my forehead, so people would know I was a girl. Because I was so bald and ugly. Like, I still have a scar from the Scotch tape, I swear. If you look closely, I have a scar from the Scotch tape that my mom would put on every day for 3 years and tape a barrette to my forehead so people would know I was a girl.
Why were you bald?
I don't know, because I was blonde, the hair hadn't come in yet or something. Like, I was a late bloomer. And so when I was first born, actually, I was so ugly. I had, I guess her little, her privates had squished my face, and, I had, a bruise or whatever, and my mom's like, that's not my baby. And the doctor had to take, I can't go back at this point, right?
Oh my God.
There's no refunds.
This is traumatic.
So, it was so traumatic. Well, I don't remember it at the time, but she likes to tell the story,
for her,
especially
it's
after she's
probably.
drinking, And so she sends me back out, and the waitress, the nurse was like, I don't know what to do. This lady doesn't want her baby. And it was only the next day that my mom's like, well, I guess there's no mix-up. It must be mine. Hopefully she grows into herself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So here I am.
So you grew
Besides that, I'm pretty well adjusted, I think. Yeah.
And then, I think so.
And then, so then sports was sort of I wanted to be a ballerina, but because I was so big, my ballet teacher said, there's no way. She is never, ever,
You're never going to make it.
No, And so the boys down the street just happened to be playing hockey. So my mom went out, bought me all new hockey gear, and she was like, you're learning to play hockey.
Okay.
And so I still play guys hockey.
And when you were doing sports for television, was your mom supporting you? Was she supportive, or was she worried that you weren't getting this job?
Well, at first she was like, I don't know, you're 22 now, but what happens when you're 40? You don't see a lot of 40-year-old TV women. Maybe you should become an accountant.
And the money wasn't good. Sorry.
And the money was terrible. My first job was something like $24,000.
And this is this TV job for
sports? This is a TV station.
Still
You're the 6 o'clock. It might have been 26,000, but you're the 6 o'clock news anchor. Everybody in Winnipeg sees you. They all think that you are this rock star, and you have to use coupons when you go to the. Well, you would have anyways because you're from Winnipeg, but you have you have no money.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing in comedy. We before everyone thinks it's all glamorous, and then we're taking the 165 home. And,
totally. 165.
Well, I'm not taking the 165. You're Filipino. You don't take the 165 either, though.
I drive, so that's all I do.
It's true.
Cooler than
I
most
remember
Canadians.
when I first started in TV, so I didn't have any blazers or anything. So I would actually go, I would buy a bunch of these blazers that I needed.
Yeah.
I would keep the tags on. I would wear them for a week and I would go return them.
Really? You did
Yeah, because we didn't have any money to buy. I didn't have any money to buy all these blazers.
The station didn't buy you a blazer?
They gave us a clothing allowance of
Clothing
like,
budget.
$4.73 or something. And so,
Not bad.
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess parents, it's only natural for them to be worried at
Right.
this point.
Now my mom she's realized like, hey, I'm actually making a career of this.
Yeah.
And when she comes to visit, like I get treated pretty well at a
Yeah.
couple places. You
Yeah,
know,
of
someone will buy
course.
us dinner, someone will put us up at a hotel, whatever. And my mom's
Yes.
like, we don't have to pay for this. This is
a
awesome.
superstar.
Yeah, she thinks she's amazing. So
How long were you at the TV station in Winnipeg?
I was there for like a year, just a year before I moved out here
Okay.
and got on. Maybe a year and a half.
So there were no periods where you kind of weren't working at all?
No, I went to Australia actually right before the TV thing,
Okay.
and wrote for the Winnipeg Free Press
Okay.
while I was on a beach, sipping margaritas on my laptop.
Bondi.
Like that was pretty sick. What I remember was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then I remember coming back saying, "Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do." But that's when I got into the promotions thing, and that's when I got the
Okay.
TV gig. Right
So you
after.
kind of bounced from one to the other.
Yeah,
You weren't
it
in
went
any
pretty quick.
down period
No.
or anything.
No.
Okay.
And I came out here, and then I got on doing sports for that CJD, and then doing traffic. And it's funny because my boss, Mike Van Dixon at CJD, had called me into his office, and he's like, "Listen, we want you to. How do you feel about traffic?" And at this point, like, I wanted a job, right? So I'm like, I love traffic. Like, traffic's awesome.
I
you
love
know?
being
I
in
try to be in it
traffic.
every day. And so but I have no sense of direction. Like, I get lost coming out of my back door.
Yeah.
And so I did it for a year, and I would just make it up.
Did
You know,
Yeah.
I had no idea. Whatever the girl did before me for
Yeah,
script,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
just keep that script. So there's 81 cameras spread out over
Really?
the city, and like I would just type in random codes whenever the bosses walk in. I'd be like, "Oh, it looks good on," and
So you pulled it off?
people would be like, "How's the 13?" I'd never even heard of the 13.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what's a
yeah.
street
What is
name
the
with a number,
13?
right?
Yeah. What is
So
it?
at the end, and some of my buddies that knew that I had no idea what I was talking about would call in because you could call if you had a question,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be like, "Oh, how's the 344 from Bertuzzi or whatever?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it looks good right now," and to hang up,
Pulled
and
it
like,
off.
"Hey, it's Scott." There's no, But then my boss called me in a year to the day later, and I was sure I was getting fired because I had just I
Yeah.
made it up. Like I said, like the 17 looks good at this point. Like there's no 17, right?
And you're announcing this live on the radio?
Yeah, on all three stations.
You're doing hits.
On Shome,
Yeah.
on Virgin,
You're doing
on
all
CJD.
three?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, and I am the
So
expert.
There's
you know?
like hundreds of thousands of
Oh
people
yeah,
listening
relying
to
on
you.
my, and I'm like,
to your
oh,
made-up,
DeCarrie's busy.
You're like, oh, every day. You're
because
like,
DeCarrie's always busy.
DeCarrie's
So I would
always
just say
busy.
DeCarie's always
Yeah,
busy.
yeah.
you
She
know?
just read the same script for a
They
year.
want
basically
to avoid the
a year.
expressway.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And so then my boss calls me in, and I was sure I was getting fired.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Hey," he's like, "We're giving you your own show." Right on. So it was
Okay.
Mark Bergman and I on Virgin. We
Nice.
did the Drive Home show together.
And this was like right after Mix 96. It was sort of
Yeah, it was- we
Virgin
did- we launched
Radio.
it.
That was when Mix 96 was
Yeah,
changing to
so
Virgin.
it switched. So my first day was when we switched to Virgin.
Okay.
And,
That's
yeah.
pretty good. So good timing.
Amazing.
A lot of timing,
Yeah.
good
a lot
luck.
Of, yeah, there's a lot of good luck, a little bit of talent, a lot of luck, a lot of making friends with the right people, and just never burning bridges was my big thing.
For sure, yeah, you don't
and a
wanna
lot
burn
of faking
bridges.
it. Like I have faked it a lot in my
Yeah.
career, and I find it really helps. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like you never say no to anything.
Like you were saying, fake it until you make it.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
advice that one of
yeah.
my instructors gave me in college was because they had wanted me to go into sports even in college because I knew a little bit out of it. And I was like, I don't know as much as these guys who are like, they've been in it for 30 years. They can tell you every stat from every player. And they're like, you don't have to. Like, you will bring something different that these guys don't
Yeah.
have. Just pretend you know it until
Yeah.
you actually know it.
And why were you like at home researching, like doing a lot of recon for your own sort of
Yeah,
intel?
like at first I just sat there and I would read for hours a day, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm never gonna keep up to these guys.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna have to bring something that these guys can't.
Of course,
and
yes.
it's gonna be a little bit of humor, like
Yeah.
I'm not an ogre, which some of these, which will
No, you
help.
have a personality,
Yeah.
and you
Right.
and
So
you
you put
and
your
you-
own spin on
and
it.
you're
Yeah.
funny. And a lot of these guys, they don't really have as much. They
Yeah.
don't use that as to their
It's
Totally.
like the business.
Yeah.
But they're not, it's not in their personalities.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not going to name names.
but yeah, some guys.
I'm not going to burn any bridges over here.
That's a good call. Yeah. So then I did Virgin for a year with Mark on the Drive Show,
Yeah.
and then I got bumped up to mornings,
Okay.
Which is a promotion. If
Okay.
anybody asks, like going to the morning show is a promotion. They don't tell you that you're waking up
That's
at
a
4 in the
pro-
morning,
yeah, okay.
but the morning show is the coveted spot. Like
Yeah.
it's usually where you're going to make the most money. It's usually most people will recognize
Most people
you.
are listening, yeah.
But drive home show for me is sort of
It's better
the money
hours.
spot,
Yeah. The money's. I know. Bilal still doing the drive on show?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Very cool.
yeah.
And his bro in stand-up comedy, Abdul.
Yeah, Abdul.
Yeah.
We hang out. I hang out with Abdul regularly.
I've seen him once. He was very funny.
Oh yeah, he is funny. He's
Yeah,
getting really good
super
actually.
funny.
He's getting really
He
good.
plays on our charity hockey team.
Does he?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
both of them do.
Oh, yeah.
And do you wish? I've done a couple shows with you, maybe 3 or 4 shows. Do you wish you would do more shows? I mean, I know your schedule's very busy.
I don't know. You know what the problem is? I wait for it. I'm not very proactive with it. Like,
Okay.
I wait for somebody to come to me and say, hey, we want to hire you for this gig.
Okay.
You know, I know, and I've had lunch with a couple people that say, okay, you just got to start doing all these small little, do open mic nights, do whatever, start, but I don't really have the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have the drive. Like,
Yeah.
I like doing a little bit of everything. And at some point, I should pick something and focus on it, you know? Like, I would love to be Chelsea Handler,
Yeah.
and I love seeing some of her old comedy, or Amy Schumer, even some of her stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know if I have, I don't know.
That
I
drive
have
to
a
do
crazy
that.
fear of failure. So
Yeah.
every time I get up there, I'm always like, oh God, what if this is the time that I completely bomb and nobody laughs? Like, I did a show in January that I was so stressed out for like
Yeah.
a week before, and it was going to be my biggest show in Hudson. People paid $35 a ticket.
Hudson Village Theater.
And it was 3 guys who do comedy for a living, like Neil Jana,
Franco or Joey.
Sebastian.
yes, and a guy in Toronto.
Okay.
Okay, anyways. 3 guys that do it for a living,
Yeah.
and me.
Okay.
Right? So these guys are all downstairs. They're having a beer, they're chilling out, like they're laughing or whatever. I'm standing in the bathroom talking to a plunger to the wall, practicing
Yeah,
my
yeah,
stuff. So worried that I am going to blank when I get
Yeah,
out there,
yeah, yeah,
knowing
yeah.
that I'm the only one that doesn't do this for a living. Right? And even as, like, you can tell that they're all giving me a look like, she is going to bomb. Like, why is she so nervous? Right?
I saw you pacing once.
Oh my God, I'm a
I gave you a hug. I remember giving you a hug.
Was
I'm
I
like, it's
pacing
gonna be
while
okay.
you were hugging?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure I was rocking in the corner. Like, I talked to the
Yeah.
wall. Like, I'm so worried about blanking.
Were you hosting that, or were you just doing like a few minutes?
I was doing 10 minutes, so I was
Okay.
one of the comedians. Jessica Solomon was
Jess
the host.
Solomon. Did you pull it off?
And so even so everybody else is upstairs at this point, like we're about to go on, and I hear her saying my name, and I just keep going over the same line over and over again. So, and I just kept going the same line over, and she comes out, and I rocked it.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
it was awesome.
Good.
It was like the biggest rush, even better than the first time that I'd ever did it, and I have it on tape. And so,
Nice.
like, that is going to be my one demo.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I almost felt like retiring from comedy, because
You
I
should
have
do it.
evidence that I did it well. But then Neil, the headliner, even called me after and said, hey, that was great. I want you to open for me.
Okay.
So it was like, it was good enough to get hired again.
Have you watched the tape?
I watched it,
Was it okay? Was it watchable?
And I was so
Yeah.
nervous about watching
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it was fine. Like,
Yeah,
they
okay,
laughed
good,
when
okay.
they should have laughed. And, like,
Do you ever listen to yourself like on the radio, like after, like do you like your voice? Do you like listening to yourself, or
Do you have like old tapes of yourself?
sometimes, I open a bottle of wine, and I just sit there like, oh, this was a
Yeah.
good time in my life. I don't usually listen to it too much. Like,
Yeah.
I'm making a website right now with
Okay.
just like, TV
Clips.
demo, radio demo, voice work, stuff like that. So I'm listening to it more lately.
Okay.
But like, it's not my favorite thing. It's actually, I have a bunch of my stuff on my iTunes. It's really awkward when I have people over and I put it on shuffle, because then it'll be like,
Yeah,
Pearl
dinner
Jam
party.
or whatever, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden it'll be
yeah,
like
it's
me
like
reading
you.
a commercial for like,
Yeah, yeah.
some sort of cream.
I can't watch myself. Even if I'm doing, I tape a lot of my shows, and even
tape
if I'm
all-
doing well, I cannot
Tape all of
watch.
I tape all.
I can't
I listen
watch.
to them. I
So
don't watch it.
painful, and I don't like my voice. Like I barely even want to listen to this podcast after.
Really?
I listen.
I always have to listen to
You
it.
were
I listen
so
to it, too.
funny after I remember one show we did. I can't remember what it was. Was it with Dan Laxer? Was that out in the West Island?
It's possible. Yeah, we did a fundraiser for him. It was like a Shriners thing.
Right.
maybe?
Yes, that was the
Yeah,
one. My
yeah.
friends still talk about how funny you are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then So, anyways,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
It
much.
was-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, I guess
good.
we haven't done any shows
No,
together.
but you look really familiar.
Yeah, well, I do tons of shows. Like
He's around.
This week. I'm doing 7,
Wow.
and like
crazy.
honestly, I just always get nervous.
You always.
I
it
never
never
not get
gets.
nervous. I've done this almost probably like 900 times.
Wow. Really?
Yeah,
900.
I think
Good,
somewhere
actually.
around there.
He's been doing a lot
Yeah,
of
I've been
shows.
doing it a lot. Like,
That's amazing. I
I've,
think
I've been
done
trying
like
to
7.
I've been trying to battle Sebastien Bourgault in how many shows we could do this year. He's probably kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Well, he has
At
two
this point.
languages.
Yeah.
Oh
but, like,
yeah, he wins.
But that's why I remember just one show I was doing with him, and I was like, "So this is your first show of the night?" I just came from like doing 2 other shows. I was like,
Wow.
you're not a hard-working comic.
So is that your full-time job?
That's what I spend my nights doing all the time. It's busy, like, and I like this. The city's good for it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's so many open mics and so many places where you could just hop on and like have fun.
And how often are they paid gigs?
How often? Not all the time.
Okay.
Like a lot of the open mics.
A lot of them are starting to get paid.
But yeah,
more
now
for you.
more than not
Okay.
now, which is great for this city because
Yeah.
it wasn't like that like a couple of
You
years.
still get nervous, eh? Do you get nervous
Yeah, all
before
the time.
TV?
So when I'm doing a story, when you're not live, I don't get nervous. Then I just
Okay.
get distracted. Like if
Okay.
if a fly walks, like
Yeah.
flies by, like I'm off. But when I'm behind the anchor desk, I always get nervous. But I noticed I did it last weekend, and for the first time, the rush of doing like a shot of Jack didn't. That's what I like. That's totally
yeah.
what I think of when I
So
'cause
Winnipeg.
So I know, like a shot of Jack.
That's awesome.
My
That's
standard
awesome.
drink. But I didn't have it quite as much, and I was
Okay.
like, oh my god, am I losing the rush already?
Yeah,
like it's only been
yeah.
a couple years, but we'll see. I still love it, and after a good show, you're still like, oh my god, I love this feeling.
And you do entertainment as well?
Yeah, so I do sports. I do.
Do you get to interview any celebrities every once in a while? Or they put you out there?
Yeah, not really. Like they let Christine Long, who's the regular entertainment girl, they let
That's
her
right.
get all
Yeah.
the good
Yeah,
stuff. So I get like
okay.
the
Nice.
water skiing squirrel of the entertainment story.
fun.
Why are you
That's
shitty
cool.
on the waters?
I know, I see
Squirrel
squirrel.
It's like a 4th time we've trashed water
I
skiing.
know.
That poor squirrel.
So I really like both. I think I like sports a little more just because I know there's a ton of, good-looking, funny girls that could do entertainment. Whereas I find sports is a little more of a niche market. So I almost feel like I should jump on that because there's fewer people that can do it. So I
Right,
could
yeah.
probably
right.
take it further.
Yeah, no.
absolutely.
You have personality as well, so it's like you have the
Yeah, you
5-tool
can sell
thing
it.
here. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
sell. And do you go to most of the Canadians games? Or?
I go to a lot of them. Like
Okay.
I prefer to sit in the you can drink section, which is like where people pay, because up in the press box it's super. I don't know if you've ever sat up there. It's super high, and so they all
Yes.
look like ants, anyways.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah,
drinking
yeah.
in the press box. Like
No drinking in the press row at all.
that's basically
No
what.
fun.
No fun. It's a no fun zone.
But they have catering. You have food and stuff,
you
right?
do have food. Yeah, you have the hot dogs and the there's really yummy cookies.
Yeah, that's it though, eh?
Yeah. So. No, I prefer to sit down where you can get in on the action and pay your $11
Molson X
for a
zone?
beer. Yeah.
You want to do your work from there?
You know what the problem is? I eat healthy all the time, right? But being from Winnipeg again, you get to the Desjardins section, and I'm like, it's my name, right?
Like,
and
my
I get there,
section.
and I'm
I
like,
own that.
free food. So I will scarf down like 9
Yeah.
pieces of pizza and like smoked meat sandwiches and like 9 ice creams. Like I'm taking it to
Everything
go.
at-
I have ice creams in my purse.
Yeah.
I'm selling it. I'm trying to sell it to the people downstairs, at a discount. I got a little side
Still
business.
working it?
Afford your dresses.
Yeah.
And the Habs played the Jets last night.
Yeah.
So, I guess were you?
Well, I
the
was
Jets
a Jets
were
fan
around.
growing up. We
Yeah.
left in '96, and every 6 months, because there's not a whole lot going on in
Yeah.
Winnipeg, that every 6 months somebody would sign a petition to say like
Bring
get
the
the
Jets back.
Jets back, and they finally came back, but it wasn't our Jets, right? Like it was,
Not the same thing.
No.
Remember they used to have a black goalie
yeah.
named Pokey Reddick. Eldon
Wow,
Reddick.
good memory.
I remember. I only remember I know most of the roster of the old Jets only because I had the Panini hockey stickers, and I used to put them in like every team. Like I remember Ed Olczyk, Thomas
Yeah.
Steen, Howard Chuck.
Yeah.
Bob
Jeff,
Essenza.
Jeff is like Rain Man when it comes to like any sort of sports.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
good. I'm pretty good.
That's impressive.
But,
so now I don't really feel a loyalty to the Jets, though, like because they're not my guys.
I don't like their new logo. I don't like their new
No,
uniform.
I
Not
don't
as
either.
much as
And there
the
was
old
actually
one.
a big, hoopla where they said all the fans said we don't want this one, we want the old logo back. But
Yeah, because they can't sell jerseys again. Is that probably
Yeah.
why?
Oh, yeah,
But
they
it
wanted
looks
to-
very corporate looking.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
not
so-
like-
It lost its soul.
Yeah, there's no soul. There's no soul. And now they're out of the playoffs because they lost
Yeah.
last night.
I
So-
know. They were playing hard for 2 periods, and then I
And
think
then-
they found out in the locker room that Ottawa and someone
Ottawa
else
clinched,
won.
and
the
the
Rangers.
Rangers.
That's right. So I
Yeah.
think they kind of
They just stopped.
yeah,
They
yeah,
stopped
yeah,
trying.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sad.
yeah. Are you a Habs fan now?
Yeah, actually, I didn't. You're supposed to be unbiased when you do
Yeah.
sports, but nobody's unbiased. Everybody's
Of
got a
course.
team.
Rick Moffat's
like-
a huge Habs fan.
Totally,
I'm
he's such
sure.
a Habs fan. But and I just like knowing the storylines and seeing the guys
Yeah.
come up, and like David Desjardins, I went to play in a tournament in Switzerland in December, and David Desjardins played on my line. He was
You
playing
played
during
hockey
the
tournament in Switzerland during
Yeah.
lockout. Did you go there for work? Or were
I
you
went there
for,
with sort of like a charity team with
Okay.
a couple friends and a couple guys own
That's awesome.
a couple things out there, and before you know it, David Desjardins is in the locker room,
That's
and they're like,
awesome.
Desjardins, you're playing together. And I was
Desjardins,
like, oh my
Desjardins?
god, this is the best day of my life.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because he's tiny. Like
He
he's
can only
about
play in the
5.
Swiss league. He's very good for the Swiss league, David
He's
Desjardins.
like, what? You can't play in the Habs? You like?
Wow.
You just signed a big contract.
Yeah, he did sign a big contract. And so, what do you think? What's your personal instinct of where the team is today and for the playoffs?
Well, they're overachieving this year. So last year,
Over their
it's
heads.
amazing that they went from dead last to
Yeah.
fighting for first, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
out of this world. But now in the slump that they're in, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they came out of it yesterday. But I don't know.
Kind
They
of.
have one game left, right?
So they clinched the playoff spot maybe 2 weeks ago, and they've won 2 of their last 6-7
Yeah.
games, and the losses have been ugly, haven't
2 out of
they?
7s, yeah. So now it's a matter of what they do in the playoffs. They'll
Yeah.
probably fizzle out.
Yeah,
First round,
First round.
I bet.
Who
But
are you worried? I don't want them playing the Leafs for some reason.
you
It's
don't? I'm
it's
sure.
looking like that.
Yeah,
that's
they're
gonna
totally
be-
going to
yeah,
put the
yeah,
Leafs.
yeah.
And well, I mean, look at Leafs fans. How excited are they, right? Right now, the Leafs are finally in the
I
playoffs.
know, it's hilarious.
Our producer, our op, is Matt Ward, is a huge Leafs fan.
Okay.
So every time, now that's all he talks about is that
Oh,
the
nice.
Leafs are in the playoffs. So every day I have to do a special little Leafs segment of my sportscast for him.
And you're gonna go to games 1 and 2. I'm presuming you should.
Yeah, I probably will.
That'd
I
be a
mean,
good time.
as long as I can get in the beer zone. I mean,
That's awesome.
When did the playoffs start?
Next Tuesday.
Okay.
That's what they were saying. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's official, but
yeah. And then the last game tomorrow, and they're saying they're going to sit they're trying to decide what they're going to do. Are they going to sit Carey Price? Are they going to give
Markov needs some rest.
He's
Yeah,
getting older.
yeah.
But then what do you do with a guy like PK Subban? Do you play him?
Oh, he looks so good.
He
He
looks
looks
good.
so good. Yeah, I love watching him skate. Do
Yeah.
you have a favorite player, or are you not allowed to say who?
I don't really have a favorite
Yeah.
player. No, David Desjardins, because we played on a line
Yeah, he's
together, so we have a
awesome.
special bond.
Very
Yeah, he
cool.
kept trying to, and it's funny. So he's smallish. He's only 5'7", but
Mm-hmm.
out on the ice, he could see. It's like he had eyes in the back of his head,
That's
and he would
impressive.
hit a guy, and it was just sort of a charity thing.
Yeah.
He would sort of gently tap a guy. The guy would go flying.
Wow.
Across. You have no idea how strong these guys
That's
are when they're
pretty
playing
crazy.
with average people. And he kept dropping me the pass, and of course I'd screw it up or whatever. And I'm like, Desjardins, get your head in the game. Yeah.
That's
Do you
awesome.
play a lot of hockey?
Now I play sort of beer league once a week, charity. There's got to be a beer in
The
my
whiskey
life.
league,
Yeah,
the Jack Daniels league. They should
totally.
be just chugging.
Any sport I play, it has to involve some sort of alcohol. So a golf, but there's got to be a beer, and softball,
Oh, very
beer.
cool.
Yeah, hockey, beer.
I guess where are we at for time? 25, 27?
37.
Oh, really? We've been here for that long?
Yeah.
I always like asking and Paul maybe have a last question or two, but I always like asking at the end what kind of career advice
Yeah.
you have to people
Sure.
who maybe want to pursue going into media jobs or
Yeah.
whatever they do in life.
Any tips?
Any tips?
First of all, absolutely fake it. Be nice to everybody because you never know when somebody's going to be able to come back and help you. Work for free. That's the best advice. If you want to, offer to come get people coffee. Really, all they need to see is your personality, and then you can get a paid gig. Because so many people, I can't do an unpaid internship. But at the radio station, they do unpaid all the time.
Okay.
And it usually, if they like you, it'll result in a paid gig eventually, So that's basically it. And don't, everybody's, I'm afraid of rejection all the time, but just keep putting yourself out of your comfort zone. That's the best thing you can do in life for any sort of job. As soon as you get comfortable, that's when your performance peters off, and that's when, you stop really trying to achieve something.
So being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I love that feeling of I need to talk to a plunger in a bathroom, in the basement of a comedy club. To me, there is no better feeling,
Hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. I guess that's it. Talk to a
pretty
plunger.
good.
The plunger.
Yeah.
We're going to take it
Yeah.
from the plunger.
Yeah, we'll take it from there.
Do you have any...
Okay, well, actually, we've never really talked to someone who's not from Montreal, I guess. on
Most-
this
yeah,
podcast.
you're
I guess
right.
you might be the first person
Oh.
to do that.
That's
Do I
true,
get,
actually.
an award or
No,
a,
you
like a
Her
prize?
water skis.
Yeah,
Good,
exactly.
yeah.
And a dead taxidermied squirrel.
Good.
But what do you? I don't know. So what is it that you can tell people who aren't from Montreal? How would you sell this city to them?
Like how, if I'm talking to Winnipeggers?
Yeah, be like.
Well, it's funny. I don't think I'd go back now. Like once I got divorced, I thought like it was a year ago, and I sort of thought about maybe going back to Winnipeg, and then I went back home. And it's funny because the media is very, incestuous in terms of as soon as somebody heard that I was getting divorced, I got a phone call from Winnipeg saying, "Hey, we got a morning show for you. You want to come back?" Within like 5 minutes. Like I
Really?
barely left with my suitcase, and I'm getting a job offer. But I went back home, and I was kind of like, Montreal's my home now. There's just so much to offer. I love the fact that it sort of feels a little European. I even love the French-English wars. Everything about the city is exciting. There's it's the uncomfortable feeling, and I love that. The shopping's great. I mean, for all these dresses that I keep buying that I'm going to return next week, and I think this is going to be my home now. This is Toronto is sort of the next step for a lot of people. And if something fell in my lap again, maybe I would take it, but. At this point, if I can sort of make a life here between the friends that I have, the radio, the TV, the stand-up, and the voice work. Like I just did a campaign for cheese. You might hear my voice for cheese. Yeah, I spent 3 hours saying the word feta with 4 agency people telling me how to say the word feta.
That's hilarious.
And that's when you know you've made it. That's it for me. Yeah, I have dreams of cheese.
Well, that's good.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Dreams of cheese.
I have dreams of cheese, yeah.
And now you're like the voice of cheese.
I'm the voice of cheese, yeah. And the best part, I felt like I was in a Seinfeld episode. There's 4 people telling me how to pronounce feta, and they're saying, no, you're saying feta wrong. You got to say more emphasis on the eta. And I'm like, okay, feta. And they're like, no, you did it again. I look at my op, and I'm like, what? Aren't I saying this? And so I said, okay, feta. He's like, nailed it. Nailed it. Do
they all have different backgrounds? Like they say feta differently? Probably.
No, how many ways are there to say feta? There's only one way to say feta.
I've only said feta one way.
Yeah, it's definitely only one way to say feta. But,
that's awesome.
So that's it.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we went into overtime here.
Yeah.
I know, this was fun.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Cheers.
Thanks once again for listening in, everyone. We keep having these amazing guests over here at 2 Pints In. So if you guys have any feedback, questions, queries, or guest suggestions, you could always reach us at 2pintsin@gmail.com. And that's 2 Pints In with the number 2. Thanks again, everyone.